Hello and welcome to DVB English News. I'm Joe. In this week's headlines, Western countries and the UN condemn attack that killed 29 civilians. Sacked regime ministers sentenced to prison. Indivisible exhibit panel discusses cross-border aid. Police officers demoralized by resistance forces attacks. The US, Canada, France, and the UN have condemned the attack on the Mung Lai Kiet Internally Displaced Persons, or IDP camp in Kachin State, located near the Kachin Independence Army headquarters on October 9th. The bombing resulted in the death of 29 civilians, including women and children. 57 others were injured. Stefan Dujarric, the spokesperson of UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, condemned all forms of violence, including the military's intensifying attacks throughout the country, which continue to fuel regional instability. The US also blamed the military. France stated that the massacre once again underscores the disregard for international law in Myanmar. Richard Horsey is the senior Myanmar advisor at the International Crisis Group. He spoke to DVB about the indiscriminate use of airstrikes against civilians.
The Myanmar military has always had a doctrine of counterinsurgency that deliberately targets civilians. This is known as the four cuts approach. And the aim is to undermine the civilian support base of insurgencies by targeting the civilian population. You know, if the local population doesn't have food, they can't provide food to the insurgents. If the local population is displaced out of the area, they can't provide recruits to the insurgents or intelligence on army operations. I think what we've seen since the coup is a dramatic increase in the use of air power in that kind of counterinsurgency approach, and that dramatic increase in the use of air power has come, I think, for a number of reasons. First, it's just capability. Over the last decade, the commander-in-chief, Min Aung has put a lot of focus on increasing the technical sophistication of the Myanmar military, including and especially the Air Force. So he's purchased new weapons platforms, new fighter jets from Russia, and new weaponry on those, guided munitions and so on. So the Myanmar Air Force has capabilities now that it didn't have a decade ago to target the ground with precision at night and with powerful munitions. And we've seen that in a number of cases, these have been used to devastating effect to target civilian populations in different parts of the country.
That was Richard Horsey, the senior Myanmar advisor at the International Crisis Group. Creative resistance group A New Burma hosted a panel discussion in Chiang Mai, Thailand on October 11th. Panelists included Yezaw, the health director of the Karenni Interim Executive Council, and Kotu, a former medical student and founder of a group providing health services in Karenni State called Nui U Janma. A New Burma's Indivisible exhibit features photos, videos, and artwork from ethnographer Kin Sandanyu. Panelists called on the international community to channel cross-border humanitarian aid from Thailand into Burma. They emphasized how regime airstrikes make it difficult to provide proper medical assistance to IDPs. Regime media reported on October 10th that a military court in Naypyidaw sentenced Lieutenant General Momiant Dun and Brigadier General Yan Nong So to 20 years in prison after they had been removed from their positions and interrogated. Momiant Dun was prosecuted for running his own company, accepting bribes, and failing to take action against businesses selling oil at exorbitant prices. Yan Nong So was found guilty of receiving bribes and assisting Momiant Dun in corruption. The two were convicted of high treason and violating military rules. Police officers are reportedly demoralized as resistance forces have targeted their families, according to a source close to the police. The source said senior district officers visited township police stations to improve police morale and to provide them money. At least 432 complaints have been filed between police officers over accusations of bribery since 2022. The regime claims that 605 police officers have been killed and 384 have been injured since the coup. And that's all for this week's headlines. I'm Joe. Tune in every Friday for all the latest news from Myanmar. Thanks for listening.